The main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, in a statement, condemns the president's move, declaring it as illegal, unconstitutional, reprehensive, and a dangerous step towards a descent to fascism. The party insists that President Buhari's unilateral executive order is a travesty of justice and rule of law, as it vehemently seeks to hijack and usurp the powers of both the legislature and the courts.
The case is in court, there should be...
Meanwhile, human rights lawyer and spokesman of the Buhari 2019 campaign, Mr. Festus Keyamo, a senior advocate of Nigeria, maintains that the executive order is in order and should not be taken out of context.
It's just a directive as to how to go about temporary forfeiture. So it's not permanent forfeiture. That whilst your investigations are going on, whilst the case is in court, there should be some kind of temporary forfeiture of your property. And it's not even that there will just be some kind of automatic seizure of it. You have to still make an application to court. So it's now making it mandatory for prosecutors like us, for the Attorney General, to say, look, for all cases going on in court, you don't even have a discretion again as to whether you should apply for temporary forfeiture or not. Before I'm a prosecutor, you just ask me an area that that's of interest to me. Before it's of discretion to you when a prosecution is going on in court, whether to apply to temporarily forfeit the person's property or not, or you wait till the end of trial. But the president said, no, my order is that whilst investigations are going on, whilst you start prosecution, please apply to court for temporary forfeiture of this property. It will be an offense if you don't even do so. You must do so. And is doing so in line with the provisions of the EFCC Act and all other anti-corruption acts. The Section 315 of the Constitution gives the powers to the president to make changes, contextual changes in law, and changes in the text of the laws to bring it in conformity with the Constitution.
This year's theme of the African Anti-Corruption Day, marked every 11th of July, is in tandem with the Buhari administration's drive in fighting against corruption. From the west to the east, north and to the south, members of the anti-graft agencies and concerned Nigerians storm out to the streets to sensitize the people of the dangers of allowing corruption thrive.
Corruption can be killed. I want to call on all Nigerians to unite to kill corruption, because we in Nigeria in particular, if we can kill corruption, we set the pace for other African countries to follow.
For us in Nigeria, today is a special day for obvious reasons. This is because our country has one of the most extensive and deeply entrenched culture of corruption on the African continent, if not in the whole world. This is manifested in the increasingly large number of corruption-related investigation, litigation, conviction, and recoveries made by EFCC since 2003.
Raise it up.
Of the powers and functions of one, the legislature to enact the law. Two, the court that are vested on the power to adjudicate on these laws.
Members of the House of Representatives commence a debate on a motion calling for an investigation into the constitutional compliance of all subsidiary legislations and executive orders by the executive arm of government.
This latest executive order number 6 only seeks to erode all the interest, all the confidence that the rest of the world has had in Nigeria. For in one breath, we're telling the rest of the world that Nigeria is open for business, and yet by this order number 6, what we have achieved in doing is that we have set aside all our systems, structures, and institutions that say that Nigeria is a strong democracy and therefore ready for a just economic world order. Mr. Speaker, unless I am wrong, I believe that executive orders issued by the President outside a specific mandate by legislation and outside a state of emergency is a novelty in Nigeria. Mr. Speaker, obviously it's an importation from the United States. But in the United States, where we have borrowed this from, this executive order is grounded in their constitutional mandate that states, and I quote, that the President shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Article 2, Section 3 of the United States Constitution. The converse of that in the Nigerian Constitution is that the Nigerian Constitution, Section 5(1)(b) states very clearly, unambiguously, that executive powers of the Federation vested in the President by this section shall extend to the execution and maintenance of this Constitution. All laws, not some laws, all laws made by the National Assembly and to all matters with respect to which the National Assembly has, for the time being, the absolute powers to make laws. Mr. Speaker, what that means in essence is that the United States Constitution, which anticipated and vests power upon the President to come up with these pieces of legislation, precludes him by Nigeria's Constitution. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, sir, as we seek to tell the rest of the world that Nigeria is open for business, Nigeria needs to be very, very careful that in the things that we do, by defending our structures, institutions, and systems, we don't either tear them down or set them aside, because only then will we actually be one of the countries that are truly democratic.